Battling Freaks fans and friends, yes, once again, it is the Pope of Plastic from Harry's Hobbies in Norton, Massachusetts for vintage unboxings at Harry's. You may notice a change of scenery today. Well, we moved up to the front of the office here because Harry's battling influenza or malaria or the crabs or typhoid. Not sure exactly what it is. Could be a
consumption, maybe tuberculosis,
be a yeast infection. I don't know.
Could be.
But anyway, he's not here today. So our good friend Steve is manning the shop, a one-man shop here today.
Hi, everyone.
So we moved out front in case any customers come in. Can you imagine that? They're going to run right out the door if they see me out here rambling on about
if they come in, it's going to be a treat.
So today, ladies and gentlemen, I spied some kits in the back, and we are going to man the guns, man the anti-aircraft guns. We are going to arm the carriers. We are going to get ready for a big strike on the enemy. Today, we are going to do a couple of vintage battleships, and let me tell you, I think these are going to be a treat. These are from our good friends once again at Revell. Okay, Revell, early Revell. I would say these are 1960s. Let's get them out while you're waiting. Let's grab these, ladies and gentlemen. These are two beauties. These are two beauties. I mean, this box has been out on the ocean, it looks like, in its own battle. But what's inside is what we care about. I mean, look at this thing, Steve. This was definitely, somebody had a septic system overflow into the basement, and this is what happens when
that mold, my asthma notices it from here.
When the sewage seeps into the basement, and this is floating around in it. You know, you just throw it aside, let it dry out, then you take it to Harry's Hobbies and try to sell it. Anyway, we were interrupted by a phone call. We're up front here, so if the phone rings, we got to answer it. And Steve had to take a phone call, and he's getting his warranty extended on his minivan.
Yeah.
Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this beautiful Revell. I'm going to say, what are you going to guess, Steve? What do you think?
1963.
1963. Then after that, we'll get into the next one. That's the cruise ship. I was going to say that as a surprise, Steve, at the end. And then we're going to do the beautiful USS Forrestal.
Beautiful. Just in Newport several years back.
Yes, I remember that. Remember that? It was just a big hulking hunk of decaying, you know, of course it's typical Rhode Island. They couldn't turn it into a museum or anything. They had to let the thing just disintegrate into nothing, just like they did with that. You ever see the K-9 Widowmaker, the movie about, with Harrison Ford?
The submarine.
And they brought that to Rhode Island, and like a month after it came to Rhode Island, somebody left the hatch open. And a nor'easter came in and it sunk, and it sits there to this very day on the bottom of the Narragansett Bay. This is Rhode Island. They don't think things too clearly here in the Ocean State. Anyway, okay, so let's open this bad boy. I have high hopes for this one.
Oh, this is going to be big.
I have high hopes. Okay, so we got our instructions. Well, first we got a little history of the Forrestal. Now, give me a guess on the date on this. What was your guess?
I said 1963.
Steve, you'd be wrong.
Oh.
This was 1961 by Revell.
1961?
Oh. Revell Incorporated, Venice, California. Here is a little history on the battleship here. Which battleship is this? This is the USS Missouri. Missouri, very famous battleship. So anyway, it's got your history. This wasn't damaged too much by the urine and feces, but so you can still use this. Oh, and a map. Look at this. A map. I don't know what the map has anything to do with, but it must be, I don't know. I guess they sailed into Japan at some point. Anyway, so now let's look at these beautiful instructions. The USS Missouri, the Big Mo. The instructions look pretty basic, and these are definitely not engineering drawings. This is some guy sitting at his desk just, hey, Bob, can you draw us up some instructions for the Big Mo? Sure I can. I'm going to go on my lunch break and drink a 12-pack, and then I'll be back, and I will get right to that. Hold on, we got to pause, ladies and gentlemen. We've got customers. Okay, we had a customer. Hey, you know what? You can't stop. This is like trying to do this at Disney World. It is like constant people in Harry's Hobbies. You know why? Because it's the greatest hobby shop in the entire world, as far as I'm concerned. Or certainly one of the top 3. Anyway, very nice gentleman came in. Another model builder. We had a nice discussion. But let's get back to the Big Mo, shall we? We were looking at the instructions.
They have some provenance.
It's like this was definitely drawn by a guy after lunchtime, after sucking down a 12-pack. Typical of Revell model, engineers in the 1960s and 70s.
Probably cheap, like.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely. This guy was an Olympia drinker.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
so,
never.
Olympia. I loved Olympia. Anyway, so instructions are simple. Look, it's 1960. Let's get into the meat of the action here.
we go.
Here's the hull. This is the shiniest plastic I have ever seen, ever. Now listen, when you get shiny plastic like this, let me warn you about something. Don't go just painting this, because especially with acrylic paint, because acrylic is just going to sit on this shiny surface no matter what you do to it, and you're going to bump it into something. Your wife's going to, this is what happens. The wife comes in, she doesn't give a crap about your models. She's there with the Swiffer. She's swiffing around. You know how they do, swiffing all around like this. They don't give a crap. And the Swiffer's gonna knock into this thing, and it's gonna take the paint off the side. What you need to do with this, you gotta sand this. You have got to put a rough coat on this in order to get the paint to stick to it. I would probably do a primer on this. After I do the rough coat, put a coat of primer, get it all nice and smooth, and then go ahead and hit it with my acrylic. And then, not that it's going to be Swiffer proof, but it'll be better than doing it like this, because the paint is just, this is the shiniest paint plastic I've ever seen. It looks like it came out of the Ferrari factory and they hand polished it for 3 days. Anyway, so the molding on this looks okay. Steve, what year do you think this was molded?
1958.
You are wrong, sir.
Oh,
exactly 10 years earlier. No, more than 10 years. 1953 this was molded.
Holy moly.
Holy cow. I didn't even know they made plastic back in 1953, but there you go.
That's amazing.
This is also going to be very brittle, by the way. This old plastic is very brittle, very hard to carve into. So you want to be very, take extra care, because this kind of plastic tends to, like, once it cracks, it doesn't crack usually partially. It cracks, and it's cracked in half.
That does have a shine.
So anyway, let's get into, look at this. This is going to be something wonderful. I can feel it already. I can feel it in my bones. And I got to say, a good portion of the kits that we've reviewed have been pretty good. Now, let's see on this one. Very crude molding, a lot of flash. I mean, look at the warping on the, that's never good on plastic parts, to get this kind of warping when it comes out of the mold machine. You want these to be nice and flat. When you get models, modern models these days, the sprues are beautifully flat. There's not much flash, and this has got flash. The molding detail isn't too bad. If you look on the side of these, of the turrets here, not bad molding. Detail on the wings of the airplane. There's a little flap detail. Not too bad. I got to tell you though, here's the stand here. Same thing. See, we saw this last week where this is all melted over and everything. This is from them taking it out of the hot molds and not letting it cool a little bit before they take it out of the molds. Here's your seaplanes, very chunky detail. But the molding really isn't too bad. You got this ladder, it's nicely molded, not too bad as far as the flash goes. They even got on this little radar dome thing the openings are open, which is good, so you don't have to drill those out. We got more. Here's half of your stack here. Look, it's pretty crude. This isn't, you know, this isn't Tamiya. This isn't, but it's not bad. You know, I think, you know, with the proper prep and everything, you could, if you're a nut job and you want to add photo etched into all this, you could certainly improve this. Like I say all the time on these vintage kits, a lot of it is about having the bones of the model, having the correct shape, having the correct dimensions. And these vintage kits, a lot of the time, will give you that because, like we say, a lot of these kits from the old days, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they don't make the subject matter anymore because it's so expensive to produce a model. They just don't do the subject matter like they did back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. So sometimes this is the only way you can find, you know, I'm sure somebody makes a USS Missouri, but I'm sure there's other boats that they just don't make anymore because it's just not cost effective. But this fits really nice, Steve. The what do you call it? The conical, or the where the bridge is and everything. That fits pretty good for 19. I mean, look, 1953. Here's your part of your upper deck here. Not bad. I mean, look. I mean, it's old. This is old stuff. Here's your. This is your, what do you call this, a coning tower? I have the other piece here somewhere. I just wanted to see how this fits. Or the smokestack fit is nice. Nice fit on that. So no worries there. Part of the front of the deck with your chains, kind of molded kind of crudely. I guess you could take that detail out. You could add actual chain, which would improve the look of that. The decking on here, of course, there's no texture or anything on the deck. It's just the striping, which is okay. At least you have it's showing the panels of wood. Here's your decals all the way from 1962. Isn't that what we said? These aren't going to be any good, I'm afraid to tell you. I'm sorry. You're going to have to get these remade. And then once again, we have our paper flags.
Revell always includes.
Gotta have your paper flags. And then finally, we have the main deck here. Again, you have your wood texture on the surface, but there's no division between the wood that I can see. So I would probably want to go in and add little, you know, ending points of the wood deck. I think that would help improve it. Not bad. Not bad on this kit. I'm not going to, I don't really have, maybe I should implement a rating scale, Steve.
I like that idea.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this kit a rating of, out of 10. We're
Would
going
you
to
go as high as 7?
1 to 10. 1 to 10. 1 to 10. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 Popies. I'm going to give this a 3.
A 3.
I'm going to give this a 3. It's going to be hard to get to a 10. I'm going to give this 3 Popies. The box gets a negative 10, negative 8.
The box is terrible.
Yeah, negative 8 on the box. Okay, let's get into something more fun here. This is the USS Forrestal. Now, I have not looked in this box. I don't ever look in the boxes. Steve tells me, yes, this is complete. Steve looks in, makes sure everything is there before I go and unbox the model. And here we go. Revell, USS Forrestal. Now, this was one of the first carriers. Somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong because everybody loves to comment and say I'm wrong about something. But I think this was one of the first carriers that started with, that had jets on it, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of cool. So this kit, I'm going to guess, Steve, what year do you think this is from?
64.
64. Well, there's no date on the box that I can see. The box art is great. I love these old Revell boxes. This box is nearly perfect. You don't want to throw this away. These aren't the kind of boxes you want to throw away. These are the kind that you cut out and you put in a frame and put it in your man cave where you're building your models. You know,
John Steele did a lot of the artwork.
it's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now your wife's gonna complain putting this on the wall. I'm just telling you right now. Why you gotta put that on the wall? That's where we were supposed to put the Kincaid. She likes the Kincaid paintings, and you're gonna go and try to put up the USS Forrestal. How do you think that's gonna go?
Not good.
Not good. Now, the other good thing about this is if you were in prison and you're watching this and you're building models in prison, because they won't let you have glass frame, you know, this is cardboard, so you could just cut this out and you could stick this to the wall of your prison cell. You know, I think this would clear the prison guards. Do you think, Steve?
Maybe not in El Salvador.
Well, maybe not El Salvador, where a lot of people are going on vacation, but American prison, they'd probably let you have this in there. Yeah, sure. Okay, so they're going to open this up. Revell Authentic Kits, scaled from official U.S. Navy prints. Now, I'm even having higher hopes on this now because this is from the official U.S. Navy prints. So, I think Revell probably put their A-team on this one. Do you think, Steve? You think they put their A-team on this one?
Well, that was probably a fairly new ship at the time.
Okay, this is probably something they were pretty proud of. Movable crane, antenna booms, elevators, 18 Navy aircraft, decals, and the world famous paper flag sheet. Okay, let's look at this thing. Okay, not as shiny as the other one. Here's the instruction sheet. This is printed a little bit better. This printing reminds me of our sailing ships we did. We did the triple whammy.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good episode.
Was that last week's episode?
A few weeks ago.
What did we do last week? I
remember.
forget what we did last week.
Oh, we did fire trucks.
Fire trucks, that's what we did. Man,
I think the
I'm
sailing
getting
ships
old.
was the week before.
All right, so these illustrations are very nice. Okay, so this is more, they've upped their game on the instructions for this kit. We kind of jumped ahead a little bit. This was guess what year this was, Steve? What did you say?
I said 1964.
You said 1964. Well, I hate to tell you this, Steve. 1956.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, 1956. Oof. Here's your instructions. Here's putting the deck together and everything else. I mean, for 1956, these illustrations are freaking awesome. I mean, really nice illustrations. I love these old instructions, by the way. They're the best part of doing these unboxings. I just love looking at the illustrations. They're just gorgeous.
And you can imagine getting this kit, sitting down in a nice chair.
Yeah, with your pipe.
At 1956 with maybe an RCA Victor television.
Yeah, a glass of Manischewitz at your side. And
Ozzie and Harriet would have been on.
Before the wives started yelling at you for model building back then, you know, the wives were, you know, I don't want to say this, they're going to call me chauvinistic, but they were a little bit more in line back in the 1950s.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, look at this deck here. It's got some detail on it. 1956. Look at that. This is like opening up the tomb of Tutankhamun, isn't it? We got nice detail in this. Now we've got a little flash, but that's not bad. This is molded really nicely, actually. I mean, I'm getting more impressed by these kits from the 1950s. These are better than some of the kits from the 1970s. Here's your deck. Look at this. Molded in a different color. Why did they mold this in blue? I have no idea, but they did. Because I guess the deck is a little of a bluish gray color. Yeah. You know, it has that traction coating on the deck. But this has got nice detail on the deck. Look at this, Steve. All the nice detail. This would look great when you paint this flat. You dry brush out the details. You would definitely use, I would use pastels on this. This would look like, here's your elevators.
That's actually very nice.
It's very nice. I have no complaints about this so far. Well, now here's where the complaints are going to start. Look at this. Oof. What in the world happened here? What in the God's green earth? Here we got the mold. We got this Goodness gracious, look at the flat. Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear us talk about flash, if you're not a model builder and you're like, what are they talking about this flash? I don't see anything flashing. Flash is when plastic seeps out of the mold while they're heating it in the hot plastic. Melted plastic is inside the mold itself. The mold is sandwiched together, if you can imagine, like a waffle iron. Imagine you're making waffle irons at waffles at grandma's house. Waffle iron's closed. What happens when you open up that waffle iron?
Oh.
There's always a little bit of the waffle that seeps out, and you get those delicious little nuggets on the outside.
Oh, I used to love those. Those are
Yeah,
excellent.
and that's what this is. So this is the exact same thing. Just imagine we're using a big waffle iron, but the waffle iron isn't a waffle shape. It's the shape of the USS Forrestal, and you could probably make a waffle using Forrestal molds.
Sure.
It'd be nice to do a Forrestal waffle.
Oh, that would be great. Now, would you prefer butter or margarine?
Oh, butter. Oh, come on.
Definitely.
Look at me, Steve. You think I'm eating margarine?
And
I'm a butter
authentic
guy.
maple syrup, not
I don't
pancake.
like authentic maple syrup. It tastes weird. I like the cheap stuff. Aunt Jemima.
oh,
I'm an Aunt Jemima guy.
or pearl milling.
Anyway, yes. Here we go. So anyway, so this is very bad flash. Number one, the planes. They're not terrible. They're not great, but they have the correct shape and everything. So I think
There's a lot of cleanup.
if you did a lot of cleanup and a lot of work on them, again, you're going back to having the actual shape, the correct shape. So I think you'd be okay. But look at the flash is off-putting. But look, what do you expect? I mean, it's 1950. What did we say? 56. Yep. Here's your stand again. Same stand from the other battleship. Yep. Rudder, the antenna detail looks really. It doesn't look bad at all. Oh, look at you even get the little truck, which looks really cool. Look at that. That's nice. Huh. I have yet to build an aircraft carrier, Steve. You know what I'm going to do, Steve, this weekend? I have an aircraft carrier kit. I have a small one. And it is by Trumpeter.
Good kit.
I think I'm going to build a small aircraft carrier this weekend. What do you think?
I would go for it.
And I'm going to bring it next week for the unboxing to show the aircraft carrier. What do you think of that?
You heard it here first, folks.
Because a lot of people watch this and they go, I bet this guy doesn't even make models. Anyway, this looks good. Good detail. This has inspired me to want to build an aircraft carrier. And look, that's what, when you look at unboxing videos, whether it's me or some other nudnik on YouTube, that's what these videos are for. They're to inspire you to want to build something and also to bring you back, to your childhood. And
This is vintage, too. This is a Cutlass.
Is that a Cutlass?
That is a Cutlass.
And look at the old-time helicopter. I forget which helicopter that is. But that's cool. I don't think those blades are the accurate thickness, though. Your props look good. I'm sure you got the other one in here. But it's all here. I mean, it looks like it's missing one prop. I'm sure it's probably in the bag here somewhere. Decals. You're not going to be using these decals, unfortunately. So what do you got to do? You got to scan these. You got to bring them into Photoshop, clean them up, and then what you need to do is, what I do is then I take it into Adobe Illustrator. I redesign the entire decal in vector format. I send it to my guy to have it printed for me. And that's what I would do in this case. Or maybe somebody out there may have a replacement set of decals. And then everybody's favorite, there it is. It's like the fortune cookie of Revell boat kits. Is this right here? Here's the fortune cookie of the Revell boat kit. Every model gets one. Steve, this is not bad. 1953. Let me get the instructions down here.
And your rating?
My rating. I got to go with a 3 on this one too. It ties the other one. They're both about the same. Same level of detail.
Well, all that flash brought
A lot of flash. But look, I'm going to have to tell you, because I'm going to be very strict on these ratings, that a 3 is not a bad rating, to be honest with you. You know, so it's not great. It's not, a 3 means you're going to have to put a lot of work into it to get it to look, you know, really good. Okay, so that's this. Let's do one more real quick, Steve. This is not a battleship, but it's sitting back there along with these, and this is a Revell SS, what the hell?
Oriana.
Oriana, some kind of cruise ship. And again, this is cool. This is, what year do you think this one's from?
1960.
Missed it by 1 year, 1961. Looks like some cool, other cool kits. Look at the Corvette and the Austin Healey. I'd love to review this kit if we ever find it. That looks pretty cool. All right, and then you have the other ones. You have the Franklin D. Roosevelt seaplane tender. That would be a cool one. Scissors Bridge. All right, we're going to go through this one real quick. Super shiny plastic again.
And a weird color.
Weird color. This is like pus yellow. And bad seam line. Oh, no, somebody put this together already. Somebody tried putting this together, and they gave up after they put the two sides together. They said, I've had enough of this, of the USS Oriana. But it's all here. Apparently, you can put a motor in it, which was big back then. Everybody wanted a motor in everything. I'm not going to take all of this out, but we'll just see what the general detail is. Very, very simple, very plain, which it probably had steel decks. So, oh no, here we got some wood planking here, and that's actually got doesn't have texture, but it has the division between the different boards. This is an interesting kit. I've never seen this kit before. I don't know what that is. I like that all the side windows are open. You could throw LEDs in this thing, make it glow. Just a word of advice. Everybody's like, oh, I want to throw LEDs inside a boat kit. And you go ahead and you build the model, you put the LEDs, lights on, everybody's excited, the whole family's gathered around. It's at the big family reunion, and you've been working on this, and you're ready for the big unveil, and you put it in the bathtub, everybody's in there, you turn on or the above ground pool in the backyard, and you put it in there, and you turn on the lights, and the whole thing is glowing. Okay, so it's not very realistic. The light should only emit from the windows, not from the entire boat, like it's infected with nuclear phosphate or whatever. What do you do to correct that? Easy way to do it is to get you some. You can get HVAC metal tape, and you can line the inside of the plastic, okay? And it's adhesive backed. So you can line the whole thing in the adhesive backed plastic, and inside here, adhesive backed HVAC metal tape. And you can also do it on the inside. It's very thin, so you can then cover the backs of the windows, recut out all the windows, and then put it together. And then once you turn on the lights, that metal tape will block all of the, other escaping light. So it'll all be just isolated to the windows. It makes it much more realistic. There's a little tip for you. This is cool. I mean, it's molded very nicely. Look at this. I bet this would be a really cool kit, actually. Let's look at the, all the front. Here's even the open windows on the bridge is really cool. This is a cool looking kit. I wouldn't complain about building this kit. You got your window detail here. It's molded very nicely. I really don't see any flash on this one, and I don't see any warping on the sprues like we have on the other model kit. So I'm going to say this is this looks like, and even the decals, I mean, they are yellowed. The resin and the decals there is going to turn yellow over all this time. But again, there's not a lot of decals to this, so this would be easy to have reproduced. I doubt you're going to find anybody who has these. And ladies and gentlemen, Oh, and it has no instructions. I just noticed that, Steve. No instructions on this. I think it'd be fairly easy to figure out.
But
The fortune cookie of the of all Revell model kits right there. This was the Oriana. Nice looking kit. It doesn't have the instructions, you know, so I'm sure Harry would give you a great deal on this with missing instructions. But all the other parts there, and I'm sure Harry would say, yeah, hey, you want the Oriana? Your grandparents sailed on this when they went on their holiday cruise they went out of New York and sailed over to Halifax on this exact boat, and they had the time of their lives. And you want to have that memory. Here it is at Harry's Hobbies. A couple things I'll say to you. Thank you for staying on and watching this week. I enjoy doing these. Couple things. Harry's Hobbies is having a model show. If you haven't heard, it is going to be one of the most spectacular model shows ever on May 18th at the Elks Lodge in Franklin, Massachusetts, and it is going to be incredible. And I can't believe this, Steve, but I just heard the Bee Gees are reuniting at the model show.
I think the Flying Walendas.
Yes, they're going to be there as well. But it is going to be a spectacular model show, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you contact Harry. At the end of this, I'll have a little flyer on this video so you can see all the pertinent information for the big model show on May 18th. It is going to be incredible. I want you to come down. I want you to enjoy it. And we all are going to enjoy it together. Couple other things I was going to say, and I can't really remember. Magneto Magazine, my article about me is going to be in Magneto Magazine on April 24th. I think it hits newsstands, so please check out Magneto Magazine or go online and subscribe to Magneto Magazine. It's one of the premier automotive magazines in the world. It's not cheap. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like $24 an issue or something, but it's really cool. Also, don't use Dr. Color Chip on old plastic. I found out last night, Steve. I'm working on this Camaro for this guy, JD, and very excited for his wife, for her. It was the car she owned as a teenager, and 1977 Camaro, and MPC makes a kit of it. You cannot find this kit anywhere, Steve. You can't find it. And the guy sent it to me, and last night I've been working on it. It's coming out very, very nice. And I said, you know what, tonight's the night I'm going to spray the body and the hood and everything with Dr. Color Chip, and reduced it down with Tamiya lacquer thinner. Got it nice consistency, did some test spray outs, everything was beautiful. Sprayed the body just like I was working at Mako, and I sprayed the body and it came out perfect, and I was showing everybody, and everybody was so excited. And I put the model overnight. Good idea is when you spray lacquer, let it gas out, let all the gas escape from the paint for 48 hours. You want to make sure it's really, really dry before you start messing with it, which I was doing. So this morning I wake up and I say, you know what, I can't wait. I just want to see how the paint is looking, after overnight, after it's been drying. Sometimes it levels out a little bit, and I was excited. I've never used a beautiful Dr. Color Chip paint before, and I'm not really an enamel guy. I'm an acrylic guy, but when a customer wants it, that's what I do. Sprayed this thing down, let it dry, looked at it this morning, and it looked like somebody had hit it with a blowtorch. I had never seen plastic melt like this before. I don't know if it's something formulated in Dr. Color Chip. I don't know, but I just want to give you a warning to anybody out there that is going to try, gets the idea to use Dr. Color Chip on old plastic. I don't know if it would affect new plastic. I have no idea. It could just have been this batch of plastic that has something in it that reacted to it. It could be something in the Dr. Color Chip. I'm not trying to put down Mr. Dr. Color Chip. He could be a great guy. Anyway, ruined the model, ruined the body of the model. So if anybody out there has a 75 MPC or 77 MPC model kit that they don't have, even if it's partially built and you have the body and all the components that aren't warped and everything else, would you please contact me? Would you please contact the Popa Plastic and let me know if you have that kit, because I've got to desperately find one for this customer. I looked online. I found one online, and it was outrageously expensive. I guess it's a rare kit. But if anybody out there can help out the good old Pope, I would appreciate it. Let me know in the comments or shoot me an email at my website at thepopoplastic.com or at thepopoplastic@gmail.com. You could shoot me an email. Steve, I don't know what else we're going to do here, but I've enjoyed doing this in the front office today, and it makes me feel a little more important being out front here at Hobbies,
Oh,
at
definitely.
Harry's Hobbies.
Definitely.
Yeah, and next week, who the hell knows? I think I may bring in a special surprise vintage kit next week.
And the aircraft carrier.
Oh, yes. But no, I'm going to bring in something special, something extremely valuable, something extremely rare, something from 1972.
Going to be big.
It's going to be big. It's big scale. I'm teasing you. Now I'm going to force myself to have to do this because I got to dig this model out to bring it in. But let's look for a special unboxing next week of something really, truly special that people talk about, not many people build. And leave your guesses in the comments, and we'll see if you're correct. If you are the correct winner of what it is I'm going to display next week, if you're the first one, I will send you a free Popoplastic t-shirt. Free Popoplastic t-shirt. And don't forget, if you win the big model show, you get this trophy of guess who it is. That's what you win. All right, everybody. Next week, I will see you here again. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Unboxing at Harry's. We will see you around the hobby bench.